φίλες, σας χαιρετώ. Ακόμη ένα podcast του OPEK Talks. Σήμερα προσκαλεσμένη μου έχω την κυρία Μελτέμ Σαμανί. Είναι η πρόεδρος του Κέντρου Ειρήνης και Διαλόγου και με την οποία θα συζητήσουμε τα πρόσφατα γεγονότα. 13.000 Τουρκοκύπριοι στους δρόμους για το θέμα της μαντήλας στα παιδιά, για υποχρεωτική χρήση μαντήλας στα παιδιά των δημοτικών σχολείων και των γυμνασίων. Δεν είναι ένα απλό θέμα, είναι πολύ σοβαρό θέμα. Και θα το συζητήσω μαζί της στα αγγλικά. Ελπίζω ότι θα μας ακολουθήσετε έτσι, μιας και ο διάλογος θα είναι στα αγγλικά. So, Meltem, I want to welcome you. Thank you for accepting to come and have this conversation together. I just mentioned that you are also the president of the Cyprus Peace and Dialogue Center, and you're here today to discuss together the marching that started, this protest that started a few days ago in the north of Cyprus, and it's about the headscarf in children, but I know it's deeper than that, and I would like you to explain what's going on and how this is impacting the whole society. Not only the Turkish Cypriots, but also Cypriots in general.
Well, the recent march and following mobilization is not just about secularism. It is deeply rooted in the decades-long existential concerns of the Turkish Cypriot community to safeguard its communal identity, lifestyle, and its right to exist as a distinct political and cultural agency. This is a core part of their collective aspiration to be acknowledged under international law as an equal and recognized community within the international order. Historically, Turkish Cypriots have developed a strong sense of themselves as a distinct political and cultural entity, separate not only from the Greek Cypriot majority, but also from the dominant influence of Turkey. Throughout the history of the Cyprus conflict, this dual challenge, asserting equality with the Greek Cypriot side while maintaining autonomy from Turkey, has profoundly shaped the community's political behavior and aspirations. The goal has always been to live free from domination by either side, Greek Cypriot majority or Turkey. In times when their political equality and partnership status with the Greek Cypriots were undermined, such as during and after the events of 1963-64, many Turkish Cypriots turned to Turkey for support and protection. However, when their distinct agency and cultural way of life came under pressure from Turkey itself, many began to see a solution to the Cyprus problem, whether federal or two-state, as the only way to reclaim their autonomy and safeguard their distinct entity. For Turkish Cypriot federalists, a bizonal, bicommunal federation with political equality is not only the most realistic path, but also the ideal one. It provides a framework for shared sovereignty while safeguarding each community's distinct identity. Federalists believe that coexistence is both possible and necessary for the well-being of both communities and all communities of Cyprus. Two-state proponents, on the other hand, tend to view coexistence under a federation as untrustworthy and unsustainable. They don't trust, they don't have the confidence that it would be sustainable. They see a close alignment with Turkey as the only way to ensure the survival of the Turkish Cypriot community, even if that means functioning as a de facto protectorate. However, this approach is not without internal tensions, especially when Turkey's interference begins to affect personal freedoms, lifestyle, even the local governance. This is a great tension and a problem. It is in these moments that federalists and two-state advocates can sometimes find common ground in resisting, quote-unquote, external interference. Recent political developments, particularly the interference in the 2020 presidential elections for electing the Turkish Cypriot leader in 2020, have pushed the Turkish Cypriot ideal of self-rule to the brink. The pro-solution federalist movement has been significantly weakened. Federalists and two-state supporters now face a shared threat: the accelerating erosion of even the most basic forms of autonomy. A jointly agreed solution is more urgent than ever, I believe. Greek Cypriot pro-solution actors now carry a critical responsibility to demonstrate a sincere commitment in three key areas. Number one is to show the commitment on the Guterres framework and as a package, but particularly power sharing and equally shared sovereignty in line with the Guterres framework. Number two, a revised peace process methodology, including a mutually agreed roadmap before the resumption of formal negotiations, because Turkish Cypriots strongly believe that even if the talks resumed, it will take another 60 years or 50 years with no results. So this time, this roadmap and methodology must be different in a results-oriented way to guarantee that we will have a settlement before the extinction of the Turkish Cypriots or replacement of the Turkish Cypriots with another population on the island. And the number three, the meaningful inclusion of citizens and civil society in the peace process from the very beginning is crucial this time. It shouldn't be left only to the two leaders to decide and continue in the way that so far for the minimum 30 years they are doing without a result.
How do Turkish Cypriots feel about that? Because you are shrinking, right? Because there's so many coming from Turkey now, like so many populations coming from Turkey. So how are you feeling, Meltem, into that, and how the community feels with that?
Okay, this is also another controversial issue because it has more than one aspect to be taken into consideration. And one aspect, it's the human rights aspect, because it's globally these population exchanges and population movements and refugees are everywhere. So it's natural, especially under the conditions in Cyprus of non-solution conditions, let's say. We don't have a political settlement and we are not in an international law as a whole of the island. This makes it accelerated way that there is no control power in the hands of the Turkish Cypriot community to control the population movement towards the northern part of the island. And even the rest of the world is the same, but it's of course increasingly getting more problematic in the north. So on the one hand, it is natural, we can say, because from 1974, it's 50 years now. So those population or people who came to the island 50 years ago or 40 years ago, they also started to feel, and their kids, etc., like Cypriots. So this is also their basic human right, not to be excluded from this total population as the TRNC citizens. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, there are very newcomers as well that against to the local regulations or constitutional matters that are granted citizenship, while there are those who are waiting for citizenship of TRNC for decades and they are not granted any. So I remember during the period of 2015 and 16, 17, this Anastasiadis Akıncı period of time, that when this population issue came up, they agreed that up to the 2016, whatever the number of TRNC citizens, they would become the citizens of the bizonal bicommunal federation, namely new federation in there, because they will also supposed to vote for the referendum, for a yes or no vote, and their number was in a acceptable. I mean, it was founded by the acceptable.
I know that it wasn't that huge number, but it's also people that they've been on the island for more than 2-3 decades.
Exactly.
So
yes, but since then we don't know how many more are added on it, and every day that passage without a solution and settlement, it becomes even more complicated. Of course, the kids. Underage, they cannot wear this hijab or cover their hairs. There is no problem with the people who are adults, and even in the universities, even during the period of time that in Turkey it was forbidden to attend classrooms, in university classrooms, as a covered way with hijabs. In Turkish Cypriot community and the universities, I was one of the academics who we were accepting them, and we were defending their right of choice, being covered or not. But this sounds different when it comes that the kids underage, that they are not allowed to marry, or they are not allowed to have a driving license, they are not allowed to do this and that, and then suddenly we say that they have the right of choice whether they should cover their heads or use the headscarves whatsoever. So this was a serious alert for the Turkish Cypriot community. From among the federalists, but also, as I mentioned, among the two-state proponents or the right-wing conservative segments of the community, or among those who doesn't believe in a solution in the sense of the BBF. They have other ways of models of solutions in mind, but they are also not very much supported this. But under the models of being a protectora, in a minimum polite way to say, it's a sub-government or sub-governance of Turkey. I mean, the north is like this. It's not easy that demand or claim for coming to power and then change the things. So in this respect as well, still Turkish Cypriot community, they tend to work for changing the current government and the attitude they are showing, which reflects as if an absolute obedience, whatever coming from Turkish government, whoever the government in Turkey, then they act accordingly.
Yeah.
And it's always easy under the colonies or the protectorates or etc. to find people to appoint to these posts. So even if you resist, then next election somebody else will come there to implement the decisions taking somewhere else.
How people in the north feel about Tatar? Just wondering, do they feel like he's willing to go for settlement or no?
Well, election of Tatar is a result of the negative result of the Crans Mοντάνα. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not a reason. It is a result of crushing the negotiations and the talks once more and facing the disappointment. It weakened a lot the pro-solution federalist circles, and definitely it doesn't empower the pro-solution federalist circles. On the contrary, it empowered the nationalistic and ultra-nationalistic circles there. Even Mr. Tatar himself was not expecting to become a president. I personally witnessed this, that in the conversation he was saying that he doesn't want to run, he would like to stay as a prime minister instead, etc. But later, suddenly, he found himself as the Turkish Cypriot leader in 2020 period of time. So all these are results of the non-solution conditions, and it would accelerate and exacerbate it day by day. And also I agree with you that Mr. Christodoulidis and Greek Cypriot leadership is not helpful to show this inclusiveness, because you cannot give the impression that you try to exclude Turkey from the regional dynamics and you are doing some backside work against Turkey with supposedly Turkey's enemies to make some alliances, etc. Similarly, from the EU, they should show more welcoming approach towards Turkey, because it's all of us interest to keep Turkey in the line of the EU or European principles and values and democracy and in unity, because it's a reality that Turkey is one of the forefront powers of the region, and if we want to coexist peacefully on this island, we need to learn to coexist regionally as well. We need regional peace as well. This was the case during the Annan Plan. That's why we had hope at that period of time. And these recent protest movements among the Turkish Cypriot community and the 30,000 people gathering to march reminded us the Annan Plan period of time. Since they had some prospect towards a solution, from various and diverse political backgrounds, people gathered and demanded this peaceful coexistence and the yes vote for the Annan plan. But they faced with the strong no vote from the Greek Cypriot community. And even if at that time as well, we experienced a governmental change. Again, it was UBP replaced by CTP, and today as well the expectation is the same. But what happened back then, when CTP came, they sent everybody to their respective homes, so nobody left at the streets. And we had to wait another decades-long period of time until the Crans Mοντάνα to have another opportunity to solve the Cyprus problem. But again, what happened in Crans Mοντάνα, the perception, again, strong perception of the Turkish Cypriots, it was again the Greek Cypriot leadership who was not helpful to take the last mile or to test Turkey's intention, at least in there. And we lost another precious opportunity. Now, maybe it's this time really last hope to have some light at the end of the tunnel. Because again, whether a governmental change or the change at the leadership, Mr. Tatar goes and pro-solution federal Erhürman or somebody else, because it's not clear who will be the candidates yet, but at least we know that Mr. Tatar and Mr. Erhürman, because they declared their candidacy, whether it would be Erhürman or Tatar, we cannot solve the Cyprus problem without the willingness, political willingness of the Greek Cypriot leadership as well. So we need two courageous leadership, and to guarantee this, we need the citizens and the civic society to be there as well, not as observers. Yeah. We need to agree on the modalities, how they would be an actor in the process this time, to safeguard the process not to crash once more and the last time. This would be the last, definitely. And again, a lesson learned from the Annan plan, if pro-solution circles comes to supposedly power or becomes the next Turkish Cypriot leader, let's say, and then again send the people to their respective homes, then it's like that this evolutionary, slow demographic and further changes would ended up becoming too late to do anything. Yeah, and too complicated. And we will start to most probably discuss other solution options, quote unquote, whatever they are.
Yeah. And I hope that we will not be forced, because one is going to be forced, because usually Cypriots, and as I see, especially in the Greek Cypriot community, because we are not proactive at all, we tend to take decisions based on being under pressure instead of being able to plan it and execute it and so on. So as you said, I think that if we don't have two leaders that are determined to solve the problem the coming few years, 2-3 years, let's say, then I think we will be pressed from external factors to go for a solution that will, I feel like it will not be ideal for any of the two communities, but it will be what it is. Is there still hope in the Turkish Cypriots because as to solving the Cyprus, or they gave up? Because what I sense in my community is like there is so many people that they gave up. I mean, they don't believe that we will end up with a solution. After half a century, like not having a solution, it's like the hope they gave up in my community. So I'm wondering what is happening.
Okay, among the Turkish Cypriot community, I can say that they don't have much hope regarding the bizonal, bicommunal federation option. They don't think that it would be possible just because they don't think that the Greek Cypriot majority is mean business about BBF. For this reason, they are also anxious about what sort of solution, whether it is cooked behind the scenes and outside of the people awareness or information. And as you have clearly said, the worry is and concern is that if there is something cooked behind the scenes and outside of the Cypriot communities, then minimum we will be unprepared, whether it is a good deal or not. And we know what happens when we are unprepared for a solution, mentally, psychologically, economically, whatever, to know. It will take time to understand whether it would be promising or not for the future, and this would create tensions. And in the 1960 was also like this, you know, and it lasted only 3 years. Or if it is not at all for the interest of the communities, and it would be for the interest of the bigger powers, regional or global, again, this is something that we should not allow to happen. But for all these things, in order to be hopeful or for BBF or doing something for new perspective, if there is anything, we need to combine our forces. I mean, the Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot civic society, even citizens with their individual capacities should show their commitment of and willingness to exist together. Otherwise, there is no point to be hopeful, of course. Well, we try in a diminishing way, because when I say we, it's the pro-solution federalist circles who are trying to keep political dialogue open. And as Cyprus Peace and Dialogue Center, I try to work bi-communally in every aspect of life, in every way, because I see the only way out, and we need to create spaces for the Greek Cypriot pro-solution people as well to express themselves loudly. So preferably we need to demand something jointly, ask for jointly for this. Otherwise, the Turkish Cypriot public opinion only would not be sufficient.
I feel like we need, in another attempt, we need to secure transparency. We need to push towards transparency so that people need to know.
Yes, we need a different results-oriented peace process. We need a roadmap and we need a new methodology. And the number one requirement is that we need a transparent peace process. And we should start from now on. And number one, as OPEK and CPDC demanded very recently, the convergences should be published, because there is this confidentiality principle covering the agreed elements up to Crans Mοντάνα. and this is not helpful because the communities need to know that in fact we are very close to an agreement, and the body of work under the UN mechanisms is there on the table, and only 5-6 outstanding issues remained. And if there is a political will, as Mr. Guterres announced at the end of the Crans Mοντάνα, it's possible to take this last mile. And we were also insiders during this period of time. And we know more than the convergences as well. We know that the joint understandings are there for bridging the outstanding issues as well. So I strongly believe that joint organizations and partnerships and coalitions of Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriot civic society should keep the communities and public opinions very well informed. Because when the time comes, like Crans Mοντάνα, we need the power of the people to question there what happened. So yes, they need to know the convergences to be published. We know that everything in fact leaked to the press, but simultaneously there were contra claims as well, coming from sometimes directly the leaders or sometimes the members of the negotiation teams or the negotiators, formers, currents, etc., and confused people. If they are published and they are there, nobody have the power to manipulate people.